Is this okay?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, then I will start my presentation. My presentation title is just as introduced, the formative process of Siem Reap and Angkor as a tourism station. Maybe every participant for today knows very well about the Angkor and also Siem Reap, but I make brief introduction of the city structure of Siem Reap and Angkor. As the Siem Reap central area is located 5 kilometers south of Angkor Monument area. So this is the central area of Siem Reap. In the center, the old market is located, and around the shop houses are lined. The Angkor Monument and Siem Reap is connected by the Siem Reap River and several main roads. In the center, Old Market is located, and we can see the mixture of the tourism views and the local living scenery in the same time. But these photos are taken before the COVID-19 coming. And this is the first shop house in Siem Reap in 1920s. And the many shop houses are renovated for tourism use now. The left photo is a very typical innovation. Like the bricks are the shaving off of the terracotta and the appearing. And the left is the night scene of near the night market and the pub street. So before the COVID coming, the Siem Reap have the issues of the over tourism. But after the impact of COVID-19, the tourists disappeared, and maybe everyone noticed the tourism industry shared a big part for this town. During this year, the big improvement construction work is organized in the central area of Siem Reap, and the road is reconstruction, and no shops are open until the December. Siem Reap can say it become international tourism station after the Angkor monuments become the UNESCO World Heritage since 1992. And the red area is the heritage zone, and the blue area is a tourism zone. It's divided by the registration to the UNESCO World Heritage, and Siem Reap Central area became the big tourism zone, as you know. But this is a map of the 1925 around Angkor Monument. If we go back to the late 19th to the beginning of 20th, the movement and transition into tourism station of Angkor and Siem Reap can be seen under the French colonial order. Especially the Angkor Archaeological Park is established in 1925. So my research, I focus on the relationship between Siem Reap and Angkor. And the first part, I introduced the transformation as a tourism station in 19th to 20th century, especially how the Angkor Archaeological Park is established in 1925, and how Siem Reap is changed after the archaeological park is established. And also the second half part, I introduced our 3 projects as how we reconsider historic relation of Siem Reap and Angkor. So the first part, Before talking about Angkor monuments, I introduced this is an Angkor Wat constructed in Paris, France, for the colonial exposition in 1931. The Angkor is very symbolized of the French Indochina, especially the Angkor Wat is the representative of the French Indochina. This also the Angkor Wat, the scenery of night scene. So in the 19th to 20th century, in France and in French Indochina, the protection of historic monuments are started. This is the brief introduction of the French law and the French Indochina law for the historic monuments. And also the bottom is the Angkor areas regulation of the park. First, about the France. First, 1837, the Commission for the Protection of Historic Monuments are established. And after that, the Commission started to listing the historic monuments as a public, for the public, to protect the public value. And the 1887, the first law for the historic monuments created. And after that, the law is revised in 1913, and this is a very big change shifted of the historic monuments systems. In French Indochina, after the establishment of law in France, for the first the arete for the historic monuments is created in 1900. The arete means it's the law from the Director General of French Indochina. And after that, this law is revised in 1924 by the Decree for the historic monuments. Decree is the colonial government from French mainland. And in Angkor, after the creation of French Indochina laws, for the first 1911, the royal decree from the King of Cambodia for the create of protection perimeter to Angkor monuments is established. And for the 1925, after the creation of 1924 decree, the arete to creation of Angkor Archaeological Park is also introduced into the Angkor. So between the France and French Indochina laws, there are some difference between the France and the French Indochina laws. The first, I introduce the first law for the between 1887 and 1900, the law of France and French Indochina, there is a difference of the establish of research organization, FAO, in French Indochina. In France, already the Commission for the Protection of Historic Monuments are established in 1837. So there is no need for the specific research organization. But in French Indochina, the system of the survey and research of historic monuments is not established until 1900. So the FAO is created as a original research organization. And after that, the revision of law in 1924, the regulation of visit tax is the originally appeared in French Indochina law. In France mainland, there is no description about visit tax in the law of the historic monuments, but in French Indochina, there is a description of visit tax, which means that they can get the tax and fee from the tourists and visitors to the historic monuments. Also, the 1925 French Indochina introduced a protection zone regulation to the every monuments. This protection zone is very similar, how to say. Now we have the protection zone in every UNESCO World Heritage Site, but in this time, in France, they don't have the protection zone until 1945. So this is a unique of French Indochina protection law. So after the creation of law of historic monuments, the many monuments are registered to historic monuments as historic monuments. The country name follows the French Indochina name that time. In Cambodia, 670 monuments are registered as a historic monument and took a protection. In Angkor area, for the first, in 1911, the first restricted perimeter is set around the monuments. Especially like Angkor Thom and Angkor Wat. Around Angkor Thom and Angkor Wat, there are the 200-meter protection area, and other temples have the 100-meter protection area. So this is the first protection area in the French Indochina in 1911. But this time, the protection area covers only around the monument, not cover the whole area. But after the Angkor Park is created in 1926, the park means also the protection zone, as you can see in this map. So the limit of park is showed in the blue colored, and the protection zone is equal to the limit of park area. But this area has changed in the 1930s. This is a map of 1930s. The protection zone is widened into the West Barai, cover the West Barai, and the limit of park is created around the protection zone, the same of the limit of park, but they cover also the protection zone. So we can see the protection area of Angkor monuments changes from each monument into the area protection, zoning protection. After the protection of Angkor monuments, this is the habitation of bones in that time, around 1879. The bones habitation is located in the inside of Angkor Wat monument, but this habitation was banished and after the protection zone was created. And instead of this habitation is used for the visitors hotel, like visitors staying place. But after the protection zone is around the protection zone is created, the bungalow for the staying of the tourist is established in front of Angkor Wat. This is the area of the establishment area. And after that, the 1928, around 1928, the hotel was established in the same place, and the environment for staying is developed. Also, the established protection zone is seen in several areas in Indochina, especially in Kin Chu Pagoda in the present Vietnam, and Mission monuments, and Po Naga temple in the Vietnam. It's all created around 1920s to 1930s, but the reason for the creation of protection zone is very different in each monument. Like the first Kin Chu Pagoda is protected to prohibit the quarrying, and the Mission monuments is to prohibit the deforestation, cutting trees, and cultivation. And Po Naga is to prohibit the new reconstruction to protect the landscape. But Angkor monuments, we can say Angkor monuments is for the tourism reasons to protect the zone and take the tax to protect the monuments. So this is a brief history of the around Angkor monuments protection. And next, I introduce about the Siem Reap Central area in the same time, in the same period. Around the 1930s, the Siem Reap Central area is constructed in the same as the present situation. Like the two roads from the Angkor monuments are constructed, but it's under the construction for the upper part, north part. But the habitats, those shop houses, are constructed around Old Market until 1930s. This route is a national road number 6 in the present name, but that time this road was newly constructed in this period. Before the construction of road, the route to the Angkor is very limited, and the main route was the river. This is the map of the route to Angkor by Zhou Daoguan. It's the Chinese inspector from China, and came to Angkor around 1296. And after that, around the 1910 to 1930s, we can see the transition of the route to Angkor from the French guidebooks. From the 3 guidebooks I chosen, and I compare the route to the Angkor as this slide. For the 1913, the route to the Angkor is mainly by the river, as same as the 13th centuries. And the route by road is under the construction. There is a description. In 1916, the route to Angkor is divided into river route and road route. For the river route is the same with 1913, but road route is from Phnom Penh to Kompon Luang, from Phnom Penh to Kompon Luang and take the river route, or Kompon Phnom Penh to Battambang and take river route to Siem Reap. So they are divided into two routes. But in 1925, the description of guidebooks shifted to only the main route by road, not mention about the river route. And it changes the route from Phnom Penh to Kompon Thom to Siem Reap. So the new reconstruction of the route number 6 is constructed until that time. And this route is divided the Siem Reap and Angkor into two places. So this is a very difference of the Siem Reap meaning for the Angkor monuments. This is around 1921 colonial route construction situation. So until 1921, this colonial route was established, and the Siem Reap and Angkor was divided into two areas. Around 1920, after 1921, before the creation of Siem Reap Central Area, we can see from the map. But around 1930s, this is the same map of the present, and the central area is established as the present. This is a photo from the old archives of French archives in 1931, and this is the scenery of around the old market of that time. Maybe this is a very different building from the present buildings. In 1947, near the central area, the Grand Hotel was established, and the tourists came into the Siem Reap area. So around the 1930s to 1940s, the Siem Reap central area became the tourism station for the Angkor monuments. So this is the first half part of my presentation. And the second half part, I introduce some our projects around the Siem Reap area. The first project started from the 2013 for the historical research of shop houses. Our research team do the measurement of shop houses for total 8 buildings around this white line, inside of white line areas. The colored buildings took measurement, and we already make some drawings of these buildings. And also we did an interview to the residents of this area. This is a measurement survey. We use hand measurement, also the mechanical measurement too. This is the elevation of the first shop house in the 1920s. And this is a plan of the shop house. So we making an inventory of shop houses like this. We describe some characteristics of each buildings, and also we take some photos of the shop houses. And by interviewing and field survey, we noticed that only few shop houses are now for living use, are used for living now. So the almost area is used for the tourism use like restaurant and souvenir shops and hotels and banks. So shop houses used to be the living and for the shops, but now almost shop houses become only the shop. And from the interview and using old archives, we are now trying to visualize the area history, like the shifting of the town central area from the around 1920s to the present. For this research, we have published the 5 series of the reports as the name of project for Siem Reap Angkor, and also we handed to the local residents of our results. Also, we organized some workshops with the local residents for 5 times. Each time, over 60 local people came and discussion about the town future. Like using by group working, we make some maps of the issues of town. First, we thought there's a problems about the tourism, but many residents feels the disaster fires are the very important issues for this town. So we shifted to the second project for the disaster prevention project since 2016 until the present. First, we organized the small workshops to use the equipments for the fire prevention, fire extinguishment. With the disaster prevention laboratory we have in the Waseda University, so we collaborate with them, with other team members, and organize some workshops. And now there are more experts from Japanese society came to the Siem Reap and organized some big fire prevention workshops organized. From this year, from 2020, we are supported by JICA partnership program, and we started organize the workshops for the with local residents and Siem Reap provincial governments. But we cannot go to the Siem Reap, so we use the online workshop systems. And also we research about tourism and living relationship around Siem Reap. This is a newly research since 2019, and we research not only the central area, but into around the Tonle Sap Lake and the Siem Reap River, because there is remaining the old scenery like pagoda and small villages. So especially for around the Siem Reap River, there are some small communities with pagoda and small villages. Like there is a structure of small villages with pagoda, school, and tom paddy fields, and some villagers are living around the pagoda. So from considering the structure of this area, we can go back to reconsider the relationship between the Siem Reap and Angkor as before the colonial leader, and we can consider the future tourism, I guess. So this is my end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.